Hello, my dear students. Welcome to the discussions on the chapter Final Speech in the movie The Great Dictator from the 3rd Sem Common Course English Signatures. As you know, Signatures is the only text you have for the Common Course English of the 3rd Sem UG program of Calicut University. The chapter we are going to discuss is from the second module of this text. Final Speech in the movie The Great Dictator is the second chapter of this module. Those who have the textbook will get it from page number 64 to 68. This is one of the most famous speeches of world cinema. The speech is delivered by Charlie Chaplin in the climax scene of the movie The Great Dictator. I'm sure Charlie Chaplin needs no introduction for you. The moment I said Chaplin, the figure that came to your mind must be of that cute little man famously called the Little Tramp, with a bowler hat, toothbrush mustache, a cane, and impossibly large boots, the universally recognized character of world cinema, a brilliant creation of Chaplin's comic genius. As kids, you might have seen some of his most famous films. Also, you must have noticed one very important feature that marks most of his movies. Yes, most of them are silent movies. No dialogues, only background music is there. Even though these films are silent, they make a lasting mark in the viewer's minds just through the energy-packed actions of the actors, the impressive expressions on their face, and the touching storyline. Charlie Chaplin is a master craftsman of silent movies. Although he ventured talkies later in his career, Chaplin is remembered for his silent films. Some of his most popular movies, I'm sure you must have watched, are The Kid, The Circus, Modern Times, etc. I think you have studied Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times in your school classes. Well, the speech we are to discuss here, as I told you, is from the film The Great Dictator. This is Chaplin's first movie with dialogues, that is, his first talkie. Initially, Charlie was quite hesitant to make films with dialogues. He released his film City Lights in 1931, well after the first talkie, The Jazz Singer, was released in 1927. Even though the talkies were getting widespread popularity, Chaplin's City Lights gained immense fame, proving once again his master craftsmanship. Years later, he recalled, I quote, "Although City Lights was a great triumph, I was obsessed by a depressing fear of being old-fashioned." Unquote. It was only in 1940 that Chaplin made his first talkie, The Great Dictator, his masterpiece satirizing Hitler, featuring him as a character other than the Little Tramp for the first time in almost 20 years. The film follows two identically looking people, Hinkel, the dictator, and the Jewish barber. Each character belongs to a separate end of the society with different moral values. Their lives cross and both are switched, a case of mistaken identity. The end features the barber, who has never spoken to a large crowd before, in a position where he must make a speech. When the barber must give a speech believed as Hinkel, the barber uses the opportunity to speak his beliefs. The speech is one of film history's best. The writing is tremendous and powerful. It is a statement to the world of 1940s, but brilliantly, the speech is for modern audiences. The film utilizes actual dialogue for the first time in Chaplin's career, with producing, scoring, writing, acting, and directing, all talents of his, the great dictator gave Chaplin an avenue to climb to higher filmmaking level. Chaplin became the king of satire with the great dictator. But before going to a detailed discussion on the speech, we must know this extraordinarily talented filmmaker's life and how it shaped his brilliant film career. Charlie Chaplin was born on 16 April 1889 in London, England. Chaplin's parents were music hall performers Charlie Chaplin Sr. and Hannah Chaplin. He had two half-brothers on his mother's side called Sidney and George. As the health of Chaplin's mother deteriorated, so too did the family's finances. It got so bad that in 1896, Chaplin and his older half-brother were sent to a public boarding school for orphans and destitute children. Chaplin spent about 18 months there, the longest period of continuous schooling he would ever receive. He learned to read and write, but apparently suffered quite a few indignities, including a severe caning and the shaving of his head during a bout with ringworm. As Hannah had no means of income other than occasional singing and dressmaking, and Chaplin Sr. provided no support for his sons since he had left his family in 1891. So at a very early age, that is, when he was 7 years, he was sent to a workhouse. Shortly thereafter, his mother was admitted to a mental institution. His father, meanwhile, played a very little role in his upbringing and ended up dying of alcoholism at age 37. His first stage performance. In his autobiography, he described how at age 5 his mother's voice suddenly failed in front of a crowd of rowdy soldiers. The stage manager, or possibly his father or one of his mother's lovers, then ushered him on stage as a replacement. Chaplin first sang a popular song called Jack Jones, prompting the audience to shower him with coins. Hannah had been booed off stage, and the manager chose Charlie, who was standing in the wings, to go on as a replacement. He received laughter and applause from the audience. Charlie, who credited his mother with his interest in the theatre, saying that she inspired him with a feeling of talent. He left school at the age of 13, and at 14 he booked with the Theatrical Company of London's West End. His first role was as a newspaper boy by the name Sam in H.A. Sainsbury's Jim, A Romance of Cocaine, 1903. The unsuccessful show closed after 2 weeks, but Chaplin's performance was praised in many reviews. In 1908, Chaplin began touring with his brother Sidney in a prestigious comedy company led by the impresario Fred Karno, and while in America, a member of the New York Picture Company saw his performance. The New York Motion Picture Company member felt Charlie would be a good replacement for Fred Mays, a star of Keystone Studios, and in 1913 he signed a contract of $150 per week. His boss was Max Sennett, who was worried that Charlie looked too young. Max Sennett was a Canadian-American film actor, director and producer and studio head known as the King of Comedy. Born in Melbourne, Quebec in 1880, he started in films in the Biograph Company of New York and later opened Keystone Studios in Edendale, California in 1912. Charlie's debut film, Making a Living, marked his first debut, released on 2nd February 1914. Chaplin plays the character of Edgar English. For a second appearance in front of the cameras, he selected the costume with which he became identified, the tramp. On selecting his costume, Charlie said, I quote, I wanted everything to be a contradiction. The pants baggy, the coat tight, the hat small, and the shoes large. I added a small mustache, which I reasoned would add age without hiding my expression. I had no idea of the character, but the moment I was dressed, the clothes and the makeup made me feel the person he was. I began to know him, and by the time I walked on the stage, he was fully born. The film where the tramp first appeared in was Mabel's Strange Predicament with Mabel Normand. They clashed as she would not take his suggestions for his character's comedy business. He refused to continue with the film and was about to be discharged by Mack Sennett when a telegram arrived asking for more Chaplin pictures. Mack managed to stop Mabel and Charlie from fighting, allowing them to finish the picture amicably. With an insurance of $1,500 promised in case of failure, Sennett also allowed Charlie to direct his own films. Thus, the Little Tramp became Charlie Chaplin's on-screen persona for the next 2.5 decades. In 1914 alone, he appeared in dozens of short films as the Little Tramp, most of which were directed by himself. That was a brief outline of the early life and career of this great filmmaker, Charlie Chaplin. We shall discuss more about his film career in the part 2 of the introductory video. Please do watch it. Thank you.